You're not in control.
So we're talking about Bandersnatch. It's a 2018 psychological thriller interactive film in the science fiction anthology series Black Mirror, where viewers can make decisions for the main character, who is a guy who's adapting a fantasy choose-your-own-adventure novel into a video game in 1984.
Okay, yeah. In which we did a choose-your-own-adventure style of storytelling.
Yes, there are 150 minutes of unique footage divided into 250 segments.
Wow.
The quickest path ends after 40 minutes, the average viewing is 90 minutes. Somebody on Reddit made this incredible flow chart, just tracked every possible choice that you made and what happens to it. I'll leave a link on our Reddit so you can check it out. It's really cool.
It's very worth checking out if you're interested in filmmaking.
So the scene that we picked, I think this is a really good scene for Bandersnatch because it sort of explains the premise of this whole film and like the level of matter that's going on here.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder what it would be like to run into this on the first go. And if you did, please let us know. If you, whatever aggressive path you took watching the movie, that you hit this scene on the first go, I would think would be pretty mind-boggling because it's self-aware in terms of the fact it's on Netflix, etc., etc.
Yeah, so I think we should like play some of the dialogue here, especially at the beginning, because they're basically explaining the whole premise of the film.
So, you're being controlled by someone on Netflix. What is Netflix? Is it a planet?
You were sort of starting in close-ups. Traditionally, you might want to go to a master first. I think it's really smart not to do it here.
I don't know.
The combination of just starting really slow and with close-ups, setting it up and waiting to go to a wide shot when something dramatic is being revealed. So, for example,
like a computer game.
I don't know.
He puts his head down at 20 seconds. We're in a wide shot. It puts an emphasis on this moment.
It's from the 21st century, they said.
Okay, well, let's try to pick it apart logically and see if we can define if this is reality or delusion.
It's not a delusion.
Okay, let's go through it.
I like the way that the script is written here. This is exposition, but it's done through conflict. Like she's kind of disagreeing with his premise and then she's questioning it.
If this was entertainment, surely it'd make it more interesting.
Really what's happening is we're learning information.
Yes.
That's a smart way to tell stories anyway. Somebody asks a question and you don't answer it. You leave it hanging.
So why aren't you in a more entertaining scenario?
The question itself is the information. The answer doesn't matter. And it is entertainment through conflict.
Inject a little action, isn't that right?
I really like her body movement. Like when she makes the point, she leans forward.
I mean, wouldn't you want a little more action?
And then what happens is that at the bottom, the black letterbox sort of moves up and the two decisions appear. And there's also a timer.
So, I mean, it's weird because the choice is forcing you also. They're both affirmational. Yes and yeah, right? But once...
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Right.
Like, what does that incentivize?
Who knows?
It's challenging the audience to go for the big choice, right?
Yeah.
We're intensifying the scene by going from one close-up to the other. And the sound, you have tension going on there.
Right.
To the wide shot. I bet the decision that you make changes the story after the wide shot. And it feels like this is where we're going into the next segment. So it would be actually really interesting to look at the other choice right here, right now, and see when does it change. But if you don't make a choice at all, it's gonna be made for you.
Come on. I dare you.
So in terms of the editing of this scene, it's very clearly done in a style that is self-aware and sarcastic and clearly, I mean, just even in terms of the way that the lighting starts to hit them and stuff like that once the fight begins, it's clearly breaking the fourth wall, I feel like. Her having two telescopic batons, I mean, the whole setup of it, everything. So, do you want to talk about the style of this type of fight scene?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to point out the power of sound here. This is in terms of the production value, not the greatest filmmaking, because it has to be simple and efficient. but it works. They're doing a lot of the fighting through the sound.
And it's a great way, you know, when you have limited ability to deliver like a hardcore action scene, you can use sound and do that.
Yeah, using the high shutter speed to make it feel more hectic. Definitely feels like a big fighting scene, while what we see, it's not. What's great about Bandersnatch is it doesn't have to deliver on spectacle.
Right.
It delivers on story.
How's that for entertainment, you psychiatric fuck? Huh? Fuck's your day, I'm good and proper, anyway. Me and my friend from the future.
This scene proves it. It's so simple, and they probably shot this in no time, in half a day, to get this all done. But you're still having the same or an even bigger experience because of this added stress that you are now in charge. You need to make good decisions. What this is doing is it's sort of setting the bar. It's saying, okay, these are some of the cinematic choices you can make. This is the language that we're developing. But how do you use it to still make dramatic stories that satisfy some of the bigger aspirations that film have? That is still out there to be explored. I think somebody will take this and say, okay, we got so far. Now, what do we do with this? What is this actually going to become? And that's still open.
Yeah.
This was just a short scene analysis. If you like this, you should really dig into the podcast. There's a link that you can check out, which is thisguyedits.com/podcast. And it'll take you to all the different ways how you can subscribe to this podcast, including Apple Podcast, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go on a run, use it in your commute in the morning, and listen to us really nerd out on a scene.
And as Sven always says,
happy editing.